Welcome back, everybody. These are the Anfield Agenda player ratings after Leeds United beat Liverpool at Anfield by 2-1. Now, you want a few stats to keep you interested, maybe to make your weekend, especially if you're an opposition fan. Leeds United hadn't won a game since August. They travel up to Anfield. We gift them 3 points. To continue on, because the only consistency we've had this season is to gift teams 3 points when they've had a horrendous season. Don't believe me? Nottingham Forest hadn't won a game since August. Liverpool travelled to the City Ground. Guess what? Forest got themselves 3 points. This needs to stop. I don't know how it stops, because ultimately right now our season is in a mess. I'm going to take you through and give you my ratings for each player, including the substitutes for today's game, and ask you guys to play along in the comment section as well. Do drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. To say I'm seething right now would be an understatement. Jurgen Klopp has a lot of questions to ask himself and that Liverpool team. I think he needs to start throwing players under a bus, players who are leaving him hung out to dry by not putting in a shift. A stat came up on the screen there during that game at one point. Leeds United had outran us by 5 kilometres at one point during that game. If there's one thing that we take for granted from Liverpool, it's effort under Jurgen Klopp. And too many players right now just aren't doing it. Add to that, of course, we conceded first in the game, and you get to understand our frustrations. If you're an opposition fan, I bet you're loving life right now, and I don't blame you. I do have to say, though, proud to say, our matchday content today has been brought to you with thanks to our friends at Circle, the all-new football sweepstakes game where events are decided by what happens on the pitch and every single moment counts. You can download the all-new Circle app with the QR code on the screen there now, or the link in the description. If you sign up and deposit and place your first £5 in bets, Circle will match that with £5 in free bets. If you are asked for a referral code, just put in Anfield Agenda, all one word, that will get you that. It is 18 plus, UK residents only, and always gamble responsibly. Right, look, I'm going to go through and start with Alisson Becker, because I think he could have done better for the second goal, hand on heart. But again, I find it very difficult to critique Alisson, because he's not at fault for the defence not being able to defend. So with that in mind, I'm going to give him a 6, and I'm going to move on really quickly. Trent was substituted by Jurgen Klopp today. I think it was probably because he was coming back from injury, and again, he's looking ahead to the game against Napoli perhaps during the week. But he wasn't awful today. Trent certainly wasn't as bad as Gomez, but it wasn't a great performance, and I'm going to give him a 5 today. And I think that's probably on the generous side, but I don't want to go in on Trent when he's already receiving it from all angles. Moving on to this man, Virgil van Dijk. Watch back the second goal, the winner of the game for Leeds. Watch how Virgil van Dijk, how Joe Gomez and Thiago stand there as Somerville pinches the ball, turns the three of them inside out and toe pokes it into the goal. It's like they've only just found out how to play football and they didn't know what to do. Add to that the fact that the cross could have been blocked, and Van Dijk was faffing around far too many times. On top of all of that, on top of the defensive frailties, on top of him not being a leader at the back like he should be, on top of him not talking through his other players through the game, he's now useless in the opposition penalty area. Where he used to be a threat, he's now just a hindrance. He's almost doing some teams defending for them when we get set pieces, so we haven't even got that to rely on. So Virgil van Dijk today, got to give him a 4. Probably one of his worst performances I can think of in a Liverpool shirt, for me anyway, but I understand we don't all see these things the same way. Speaking of poor performances, here he is, the man of the moment, the man of the hour, the man who puts in one good performance followed up by 3 or 4 absolute stinkers. Welcome in Mr. Joe Gomez. Joe, do you know what you don't do, mate? Do you know what's the first thing you're taught as a young footballer not to do? That's right, Mr. Gomez. You don't pass the ball back across your own goal, particularly when you don't know where anybody is and you're blinded. Not only that, you didn't play it within 10 yards of your goalkeeper, mate, and Rodrigo would have never had an easier goal in his Premier League career than that one gifted to him today from that gentleman on the screen, Joe Gomez. Oh, and he was at fault as well, along with James Milner, for not blocking the cross. No, he wasn't. He was at fault with Van Dijk and Thiago for not blocking Somerville. Excuse me, the cross wasn't blocked by James Milner and by Curtis Jones. But Joe Gomez has had one good performance followed up by stinker after stinker after stinker. And you know what it is? It's the same thing that keeps coming up over and over again and has blighted his career at Liverpool. He just doesn't concentrate. He gives the ball away and does stupid things when he should and does know better. Not good enough for Joe today. 2 for you, sir, and I hope we don't see you in the starting lineup for quite a while. Thank God Ibrahim Konate is back fit. Andy Robertson. Steady, but frustrating. What do I mean by frustrating? You've probably heard me saying this multiple times, but if I have to watch Andy Robertson cut inside and make the pitch narrower one more goddamn time, I'm going to explode. The amount of times today there was 10 yards of grass behind him to the touchline and 15 or 20 yards ahead of him, but he just cut back inside, slowed down our attacks, didn't make overlapping runs. I'm very confused. I don't understand what he's been asked to do, because if it's Klopp's direction, then obviously that blame lies at Klopp's fault. But Robertson today was absolutely shocking from an attacking perspective. Yes, he got the assist for the goal. And I say assist very loosely, by the way, for the goal, because it was more about the fact that the ball went straight through to Mo, who side-footed in. But look, Robbo wasn't the worst. He's probably actually the best of that defensive foursome today. That being said, though, I'm still going to give Andy Robertson a 5. Moving into midfield, Fabinho, our number 3. Somebody who we called the Brazilian octopus. Somebody who we said was one of the best central defensive midfielders in world football. I don't know if those days are gone, but we're certainly not seeing them right now. He was correctly substituted today by Jurgen Klopp for another stinker of a performance, and it has gone past a blip. It is very much in worrying territory right now. I don't want to be criticising any of our players, especially this man, but I can't sit by and say anything other than he has been a shadow of himself. Not good enough for Fabinho. I'm going to give him, exactly as his number shows, a 3 today. Thiago. Somebody who brings a smile to my face many times on a football pitch. He tried to make things happen today. He got himself in and around, but ultimately he's a one-man midfield in this team at the minute. And I would have liked to have seen a bit more from him on an attacking front. Maybe a couple of passes to try and open up the defence. But he's part of a machine that isn't working at the minute, and he is one of the finer cogs in that machine, but it isn't working at the minute, and his performance wasn't brilliant, so I'm going to give him a 6 and move on. Harvey Elliott. Many people in our chat today were being very harsh on Harvey Elliott's performance, and by harsh I probably mean right, because he wasn't great. I'm not going to go in on him because he's a young lad, 19 years of age, learning his trade. He's had many good moments in a Liverpool shirt, many shaky ones. Today, again, he was right to be substituted. I would have made a different substitution with regards to who I brought on, but I can understand Klopp pulling Harvey Elliott off. He always tries to make things happen. He doesn't hide on the pitch, but again, just wasn't good enough today. So unfortunately, I'm going to give Harvey Elliott a 5. Bobby Firmino. The game kind of passed him by a little bit. He wasn't able to link up play as much because we were going long far too often, in my eyes. And he just wasn't able to really fulfill his role. He wasn't really up top, or he wasn't really in the hole at times. He was kind of in a confused role in his formation today that maybe it was just me, but I struggled to understand. So it was a game that passed him by. There was a few infuriating touches and misplaced passes and stuff. So Bobby as well, going to get a 5, and we move on. Mohamed Salah, he's my man of the match. For us, Leeds, I don't know, Harrison maybe, I'm not sure. But for us, I thought he was the only one today that put himself about, that tried and tried and tried. And look, it didn't all come off. He took his goal very well. There was a couple of occasions where his final ball, particularly one that he tried to chip and stand it up to the far post, but ended up just going over the bar. But he continued to work and graft. One critique of Klopp I would have liked to see Mo far more central today and up top playing off Darwin. He was on the right again, where he's been ineffective for us this season. Mostly, I think he's done his best business for the centre. That's where I'd like to see him play more often. But again today, I do think he's one of the few players that can hold his head high. You can talk about chances that he missed. Yes, I understand. But ultimately, I think he was the best player in the Liverpool shirt. So I'm going to give Mo a 7 today. Darwin Núñez. These are the kind of displays that can make it hard for us to defend the jibes and the insults that will come his way. It's great if he misses these chances and he shuts people up by burying one in the second half, but today, unfortunately, he just kept them missing. Couple of opportunities he should have scored, particularly with the second one, where he seemed to get caught in not just 2 minds, 3 minds. Ball came to him. You do one of 3 things. You either lob the ball over Meslier straight away, you round him on the left-hand side, or you quickly change footing and wrong foot him. He dawdled on the ball. By the time he decided to try and cut to his right, Meslier was able to drag his trailing leg across and clear it. So unfortunately, it wasn't a good performance by Darwin. I can't really make excuses from today. The one Mohamed Salah laid to him in the second half, he should have absolutely buried. So it just wasn't good enough, and Darwin gets a 4. Moving on to the substitutes now, and Curtis Jones continues to struggle in a Liverpool shirt, and I continue to struggle to try and think of a way in the future that he is a regular contributor to this team, because I just don't know what he is. Is he a left-sided attacker? Is he attacking midfield player? I don't know, but what I do know is his level hasn't been good enough. I know he's working his way back to fitness. He's the substitution that really concerned me, because Fabio Carvalho sitting on the bench today in a game where we needed a bit of magic to unlock it, or somebody with magic on his feet, and he was there just looking on as Curtis Jones comes back into the team and stinks it up yet again with another bang average cameo performance. There was some good stuff in there. I'm not going to be overly critical, but ultimately I just don't know what he does. I just don't know what he's supposed to add to the team. And that's not just today. That's in general. I'm just unsure of what exactly he's supposed to be bringing to the team. So Curtis Jones cameo performance, 5 for me. Jordan Henderson shouldn't be even considered as a starter for Liverpool in a great world, in an ideal world. But ultimately, with the midfield options that we have, the manager only has one decision to make. Who plays alongside Thiago? Is it Fabinho or is it Henderson? And both of them at this moment in time, for different reasons, just aren't what they used to be. And Jordan Henderson is a fine captain of Liverpool Football Club. And I was delighted to see that he had no case to answer this week with the FA, because having that hanging over his head wasn't nice. Some of the stuff written about him by people who didn't have the full details wasn't nice at all. But I just think he should be doing what Milner does, which is coming on 10-15 minutes to go. And that's it. That should be his role throughout the season. But today, probably because he banged his knee the other day and Klopp thought it was a bit of swelling, wanted to be on the safe side, so we had to go with Fabinho. But ultimately, again, we're handicapping ourselves, because we've got one good midfielder and then Fabinho and Henderson, who's, I don't know, it's like picking which sock with holes in it you want to put on. It's just not good enough. And Henderson today, 4. Milner. I want to be nice about Jimmy Milner, because he brought some urgency to the Liverpool team, and he never shrugs away from a challenge, and he always puts himself about. But again, I come back to what I said at the start of the video. Himself and Curtis Jones had an opportunity to stop that cross coming in for Leeds' second goal. There was 2 of them out there, and again, they were useless, ineffective. The cross came in, we conceded, we lose the game. Block that cross, we probably leave with a point. Still wouldn't have been good enough, but at least it's a point. But ultimately, again, Milner's performance, for that alone, I'm giving him a 3, just for not blocking that cross. And we move on to the gaffer. Klopp needs to find solutions very, very quickly. He needs to stop putting faith in players who are not repaying that faith anymore. And ultimately, I don't care if he has to start playing Carvalho and Elliott every week, or he has to start bringing through Bajcetic, because I don't want to see an invisible midfield anymore. We cannot just lump long balls and diagonal balls and hope to win second balls and release Mohamed Salah. We need to have some creativity going through the middle, and Jurgen Klopp is as culpable as FSG for not demanding that we go out and bring in midfielders in the summer. That last minute decision to bring in Arthur Melo and Lowe from Juventus was panicking. And it was not what we expect or are used to from Jurgen Klopp. Add to that, today I thought he got his substitutions wrong again, both in timing and on who they were. How Joe Gomez finished that game, I will never know. What message does that send? That Joe Gomez's performance was worthy of seeing out the 90 minutes yet again. I don't know what that says to the likes of Canade, or what that says to the younger centre-backs who are looking to come through. But it's not good enough. And yes, Jurgen Klopp isn't infallible. He will be critiqued. So today, Kloppo, 3, because I don't know what formation we played, and I don't know what rhythm we were trying to get into, and I don't know what the game plan was. But we were outworked, outfought and out-thought by Leeds yet again, and I'm getting very concerned. So look, that's where we are with our player ratings. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Agree or disagree. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Much love. Bye bye.